Hi, Empress Justice here, and this is everything I know about Capricorns. Now, this has to be one of the signs where perhaps the stereotypes associated with this sign are pretty much dead on. This is probably the only sign that I will say, yeah, like dead on, spot on, because yes, Capricorns do have a natural dominance about them, and they do know how to effectively use their rage. Okay, now there are certain astrological signs that the world will try over and over again because of how powerful they are. You've got Leo, you've got Virgo, and you've got Capricorn. From the time that they are young, a Capricorn has an innate sense of power that, that it's just in them. They have a certain amount of endurance, a quiet determination that they carry throughout their lives, but especially when they're young. So when they find themselves being tried by people over and over again, when they're spoken to harshly, when they have their boundaries crossed, Capricorns know very early on how to establish boundaries so that they're not crossed again. They know how to do that, and they also know how to endure. So they don't, they can start off being rather short-tempered, but over time, Capricorns learn to pick their battles. Do you understand what I'm saying? They learn to pick their battles. They learn to decide what is worth fighting and what isn't worth fighting. This is why when they do fight with people, they often win. It's because they know how to pick their battles and to argue effectively and how to use their rage effectively. And let's be absolutely clear, Capricorns do carry a lot of fucking rage. They do. And a lot of people are going to say, no, that's not true. Yes, they do. Capricorns carry a lot of rage. It's just that Capricorns know how to win with that rage. And not only do they know how to win, they know how to gain supporters. And they will often gain supporters from people who are less talented than they are, less driven than they are, less passionate than they are. But not only can Capricorn win on their own, they also naturally attract people who will get behind them because of how strong the Capricorn appears to be. They will get behind the Capricorn when the Capricorn is in a fight. It's not because like the Capricorn is the most likable sign. It's because Capricorn, I've got to say it, Capricorn's a winner. Let's just say it, right? Capricorn's a winner. They innately understand how to pick their battles to get maximum victory out of those battles. So of course other people are going to be behind them. Why wouldn't they be? Right? So Capricorns are blessed with natural dominance and a proper use of rage. Now, can Capricorns be pessimistic? You know what? I would argue no. I would argue that Capricorns are not pessimistic at all. Do they complain a lot? Yeah. They definitely complain a lot, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're pessimistic though. Because this is going to sound really odd to say. I can't remember if I've said this about someone else, but the thing with Capricorn is that the happier they are, the more they tend to complain. I can't remember who else I said this about. I think I might have said this about somebody else. I'm not sure. But when Capricorns are happy, they tend to complain more. Again, I might have said this before, and I don't know who else I said it for. But when Capricorns are happy, they tend to complain more. And the reason for that is that they see more that needs to be done, right? The happier things are, is the more things that they see need to be done and need to be accounted for. So with every blessing that comes along, a Capricorn's immediate thought is, how are we going to make that blessing last for as long as possible and spread it amongst as many people as possible? How are we going to do that? That is why a Capricorn tends to complain a lot, and the happier they are, the more they can find fault with. It's not because those things are bad. It's because those things are good, and Capricorn wants to hold on to that good thing for as long as possible. And if you build a foundation underneath the blessings that you receive, you stop them from falling through the cracks. That is a Capricorn's end goal. A Capricorn wants to protect the good things in life, and they protect it by seeing everything that could and would go wrong in order to prevent that thing from going wrong. That's what Capricorns do. Okay? Now, even though Capricorns can be, you know, they do love art and they do love creativity. This focus on thinking defensively all the time, it can impair their ability to be creative. Sometimes it can impair the Capricorn's ability to be creative, especially Western Cappies. And on top of that, they can have a problem not necessarily recognizing the positivity, but why they do what they do. Everybody else tends to think that Capricorns are grumpy and don't like things and don't like people. And the tragedy about that is that Capricorns can think that about themselves too. And it's not true. It's not true. Like, Capricorns are not like miserable people, but it's like everybody else thinks Capricorns are miserable, and Capricorns themselves think that they are miserable. So what they end up doing is they end up resenting other people who appear to be happier or who appear to have it easier than they do, because Capricorns don't innately see themselves as jovial, happy people. They see themselves as being angry and miserable and mean, even when they're actually not that way, right? Truth be told, a Capricorn is not as angry, not as mean, and not as pessimistic as even they think they are. Actually, they hold a lot of capacity for joy. I'm just going to say it. Capricorns hold a lot of capacity for joy, for pleasure, for enjoyment. Capricorns are motivated by the preservation of joy. They're motivated by that. So to act like Capricorns are just miserable people who don't want anybody to be happy, don't want themselves to be happy, just constantly negative. That's because people are not truly understanding what a Capricorn is like and what is beneath the heart of a Capricorn. Capricorns love big and they love fucking deep. The way these people love should be studied. When they love with their whole hearts. This is not a joke, man. When they love deep. And this is the truth about them. So it's kind of unfortunate because Cappies can think they're more miserable than they are, and everybody else thinks that Cappies can be more miserable than they are. But truth be told, Capricorns don't really understand themselves that well. And if they don't understand themselves that well, then how is anybody else going to understand? It is what it is. But as stern and as naturally dominant as Capricorn can be, they have an immense capacity for joy and for love. These people love so fucking hard and so fucking deep. They really, really do. When they find somebody that they care about, that they want to be around, that they respect, there is nobody in the world that is going to be more loyal than a Capricorn. I can tell you that right now, for nothing. Right? So, yeah, Capricorns are very misunderstood, I think, even by themselves. It's important, Capricorn, if you're watching, it's important that you understand that the only reason why you complain as much as you do is not because you hate the world and because you're a miserable person. No, you're trying to preserve as much happiness as possible. And that is a noble thing to want to do. But when you recognize that that's what you're trying to do, who knows, your approach to that might change. Who knows? But anyway, that was everything that I know about Capricorns. I am Empress Justice, and I'll see you in the next reading. Peace and blessings. Bye-bye, my darlings.